Good morning again. Lovely morning. Good morning on this lovely July morning.
Wait, what? Pick a month, any month.
Because that's
And
what
good
it
morning,
feels like.
everybody out there in YouTube. Good morning.
We'll start with a little call to worship song from our friend Mark Shepard. And invite you to make it your prayer this morning as we gather. I allow myself to be a vehicle through which the universe expresses itself. There we go. I allow myself to be a vehicle through which the universe expresses itself. I allow myself to be a vehicle through which the universe expresses itself. Use me, use me, use me for your good. Use me, oh use me for your good. Then expresses its love. I allow myself to be a vehicle through which the universe expresses its love. I allow myself to be a vehicle through which the universe expresses its love. Use me, oh use me for your good. Use me, oh use me for your good. Expresses its song. I allow myself to be a vehicle through which the universe expresses its song. I allow myself to be a vehicle through which the universe expresses its song. Use me, use me, use me for your good. Use me, oh use me for your good. Expresses its wealth. I allow myself to be a vehicle through which the universe expresses its wealth. I allow myself to be a vehicle through which the universe expresses its wealth. Use me, use me, use me for your good. Use me, oh use me, yes, use me for your good. And expresses its health. I allow myself to be a vehicle through which the universe expresses its health. I allow myself to be a vehicle through which the universe expresses its health. Oh, use me, oh, use me, yes, use me for your good. Use me, oh, use me for your good. Now the tricky one might be a separate slide for it. No, there's not, okay? I allow myself to be the miracle that I've been longing to see in the world. Try it. I allow myself to be the miracle that I've been longing to see in the world. I allow myself to be the miracle that I've been longing to see in the world. Oh, use me, yes, use me, Lord, use me for your good. Use me, oh, use me, yes, use me for your good. One more time. Use me, oh, use me. up our assistant this morning because she's right over here,
I'm
Carol.
already here. Good morning, everybody. Good morning, everybody here in the sanctuary, and good morning, everybody on YouTube. It's a lovely August 1st morning, just to be clear. And as I'm looking out in the sanctuary, I want to say we thought we would have more people coming, maybe because it's summer and everything. So there's room if you would like to walk in this morning. Probably over the next few Sundays, we will not reach our max. So there is space. Let's kind of take a deep breath and settle in for our opening prayer. And as I thought about the opening prayer this morning, the inspiration was to just share with you a little silence. It's a Quaker tradition to have silent prayer. And actually, as I thought about this, I came across a quote from Rumi, which I'm going to ask Phil to go ahead and put up, about letting silence be the art you practice. And that's the British spelling of practice as a verb. So we're going to practice just a few minutes of silence this morning. And so it is. Amen. And I am grateful that I get to be used as the platform assistant this morning, allowing myself to be used as a vehicle for the announcements. Hey, okay. So let's see what's going on at Unity Church in Albany. First thing is we're affirming our new minister that we are calling in. So say this together with me. Together, we affirm that we are calling in and are ready to receive a wonderful minister who is heart-centered, wise, humorous, sincere, collaborative, and well-organized, and who walks a spiritual path of growth, deepening consciousness, and love. Yes! And so it is. You have to do this part, too. There's a second part that I don't have in my notes. So there's a second piece to this affirmation that we're trying out. We affirm that we are just the right congregation for this wonderful new minister. Yes! And so it is.
Does that mean we have to be well organized, too?
Yeah, well, maybe collectively, yeah. Okay, now let's take a look at what's happening at Unity. So we are requiring folks to register for Sunday services so that we can not only kind of keep a handle on the numbers, but also so that we can do contact tracing if necessary. That's also why we have folks check in when they come in. So we do ask, if you're planning to come on Sunday, to register by the previous Thursday at midnight. That gives our office person, Nina, time to compile the list for the ushers so that they can check folks in. And so it's a regular Unity phone number, 518-453-3603, extension 20. And that just puts you right in a voicemail box to say you're coming and who's coming with you, and there's instructions in that recording. All right. We are also excited to introduce our new e-giving platform, Vanco. And so this is another way for you to do your donation to Unity Church in Albany. It's an app, so you can do it on your phone while you're sitting here if you wanted to. And so that gives you the website, and the website will walk you through how to set it up. There's different things that you can donate to. You can donate to a particular aspect of Unity Church in Albany by using that site, and it also acts as a community builder. You can chat with each other and create groups on there, and So it's very cool. Our speaker today, coming to us with a pre-recorded message, because it's very early in the morning where he is Gregg Levoy. And his message is what trusting the universe really means. And there's a little blurb. I'm going to tell you a little bit about him. These tumultuous times, from pandemic to political unrest, could be seen as an unfolding process that requires you to trust the universe. But what exactly does that mean? What aspects of the universe are you trusting when you say you trust it? And is it a skill that you can build? So that he's going to be talking about that today. He's the author of several books. He's presented at several very well-known institutions and has written for the New York Times and the USA Today and the Washington Post. So we're very blessed to have him as our speaker today. Coming up next week, we have Bridget Beckmann, who's an interfaith minister, and she will be speaking about a time for every purpose under heaven. That should, I know in my head, that sets off the song, right? So about her talk, just a little briefly, all of creation reminds us that change is integral to life. But while we might appreciate witnessing the ebb and flow of the tides or the changing seasons in the turning of our own lives, change often feels challenging. How do we find roadmaps for being open to the changes in our individual lives and our lives in community? How do we recognize the gifts to be found in the moments of transition, especially if those moments stretch into months? Can we learn to welcome the liminal spaces, the thresholds of transition between what has been and what will be? Bridget Beckmann will explore these questions in her talk on August 8th. All right. Cool stuff. She will be here live. She will be here. So we probably will need the 40 before it's okay. All right. So folks are creating social events to do together. And so this social event is Friday, August 6th. That's this coming Friday at the Park Playhouse in Washington Park. And the play is Matilda, the musical. And the admission is free. Curtain goes up at 8. And there'll be a seating area for Unity folks. If you're going to bring food, bring your own food. We're not doing potluck kinds of things yet. And in my notes here, it asks if there are folks who could come early to help save the space. So if you are interested in doing that, talk to Fred Elfenbein. He happens to be here this morning. Or you can also reach him at 518-522-9117. Speaking of social events, there's one on Saturday as well. That's in Collins Park in Scotia. We have the space for the whole day, basically, from 11 to 7. And if you have questions, you can talk to Dottie, who also happens to be in the sanctuary this morning. And her email address is up there on the slide. And also you can call the Unity number to get more information about that. Lots of cool events going on. Speaking of one other blessed event, Nina, our blessed office assistant person, is having a baby. And so we are going to have a baby shower for her on Saturday, August 21st from 1 to 3 in the garden out back here at Unity. So RSVP to Peggy Kaufman, our board president, about that, and also see the newsletter. And as always, we have our weekly Zoom meetings. The Monday book study group is reading Divine Audacity by Linda Martella Whitsitt, who is also going to be a speaker. When is that? In September, 2 Sundays in September. First 2 Sundays in September. Awesome. We have the prayer, chaplains are doing the prayer ministry on Thursday mornings at 9 a.m. John Thomas has started a Friday Get to Know You gathering on Zoom Friday evenings at 7. And the Tuesday Heart to Heart is kind of on hiatus at the moment. And we also have our usual Sunday fellowship at 11:30 in the morning after the service on Zoom. Okay, so we're continuing to do that. And speaking of the prayer chaplains, there is always prayer support available for you at the phone number, the Unity phone number, extension 13, or at the email address unitypraise@unityalbany.org. I think that's all of the announcements. Now we're ready for the, the daily word. The word for today, Sunday, August 1st, is radiance. The Christ presence within is my radiant source of good. On a clear day, when a stray cloud passes across the sun, I notice the suddenly diminished light. Then, looking up, I see brilliant rays of sunshine surrounding the cloud. Instead of hiding the sun, the cloud helps me see and appreciate the sun's radiance. As the sun lights the earth and is the source of its energy, the Christ, the divine presence within me, is my light and the source of everything that I need in order to live brilliantly and joyfully. When, like a passing cloud, an obstacle or challenge along my path may seem to dim my Christ light, I respond by looking up, by raising my point of view. I am reassured and strengthened, knowing that the divine radiance is shining as brightly as ever. No cloud can dim the divine light in me. And from John chapter 1, verse 5, the light shines in the darkness, and the darkness did not overcome it. The Christ presence within is my radiant source of good. I was switch hats back to being on the music team.
Michael, you have a question?
Yes. Regarding the chaplains and the prayer session, would there be an opportunity to, on Thursday, to give in the morning or even on Sunday instead moment of prayers for healing?
Absolutely. So if you question was, with the Thursday morning prayer session, is there an opportunity to request healing? Absolutely. People will be happy to pray with you about that. Yep.
It's via
So
Zoom, Michael.
That's online.
It's via Zoom. It's not here in the sanctuary on Thursday morning. It's via Zoom.
We can talk about it later.
Yeah.
So I invite you to join us in the song. If your body is willing and if you like standing up, feel free to stand up or stay seated if you're comfy that way. And we'll sing about sacred love. You are sacred love is all that you are. You are sacred love, God's sacred love is all that you are. Sing that again. You are sacred love is all that you are. You are sacred love, God's sacred love is all that you are. Show the way, God, show the way. I want to live in such a state of grace. Lead the way, God, lead the way. I want to live in such a holy place. Such a holy place. You are blessed peace is all that you are. You are blessed peace is all that you are. Show the way, God, show the way. I want to live in such
you are. You are deepest joy, God. Deepest joy is all that you are. Show the way, God, show the way. I want to live in such a state of grace. Lead the way, God, lead the way. I want to live in such a holy place. Such a holy place. You are sacred love. Sacred love is all that you are. You are sacred love, God. Sacred love is all that you are. Sacred love is all that you are. Sacred love is all that you are. Okay, now I get to stay up here to do our vision and mission statements and our core values. Okay, as we figure out who's going to do what. All right, so our vision statement here at Unity Church in Albany is a world transformed through the spiritual awakening of all. That's our vision for the world. That's an awesome vision. And our mission, to help us get to that vision, is we awaken to and embrace the divine essence of all beings through prayer and service in our community and in the world. And we also have a set of core values. The start of it is it's all about love, right? We are a spirit-centered community. We warmly welcome all. We embrace diversity. We walk our talk with integrity. We are compassionate. We are joyful. We practice sacred service. We claim spiritual abundance. And we have our statement of oneness. I bet if you tried, you could do this without looking, right? The power of Christ's love now releases me from any sense of separation from spirit or others. There is only one presence and one power in my life and in the universe, the all-loving goodness of God.
Okay. We're going to do a little chant to bring us into the meditation time, actually, which I will lead, Phil, just so you know. And then we'll bring in our speaker via Zoom this morning, actually via his pre-recorded message. So, invite you just to sit comfortably and let these words become your prayer as we lead into meditation. Is my guitar coming through? It's number 12. I could. Oh, that's because I have a little knob here called volume.
Oops.
That I turned down. Okay, that should be better. Thanks. I allow, I surrender, I allow, I surrender, I allow, I surrender, I allow, I surrender. Sing into that. I allow, I surrender, I allow, I surrender, I sit in stillness for a few moments. And allow yourself to be supported, held, enveloped by that eternal presence. Have a sense that you can release any concerns. Any perceived needs in this moment. And just allow yourself to be, to surrender to the arms of the beloved. There's nowhere else you need to go. Nothing else you need to do. But breathe into this moment of embrace. You might even just scan your body and see if any muscles are tense and just release them. Any tension in your legs or your arms or your neck, shoulders, your jaw, just let go into this moment. Entrust yourself to that capital U universe that we're talking about this morning. That divine mystery. Even release any ideas you have about that presence and that mystery. And just trust and know that all is well in this moment and always. Might help to just tune into your breath and see your breath moving in and out slowly. As you're breathing in peace, breathing in love, joy, and in the exhalation, surrender. Breathe in, I allow. Breathe out, I surrender to this moment. To this divinity. And in the silence, just continue to know you are eternally held in this embrace, in the silence. As we come back into the space, we'll sing this little refrain a couple of times softly. I surrender. I allow. I surrender. I allow. I surrender. I allow. Before we open our eyes, just making a commitment to ourselves to continue to allow and to surrender as we go through our day today. We can come back for just a few moments of quiet and remember to surrender. Now breathing in, let's take 3 long breaths. Take a nice deep breath in and hold it. And release. Second breath in. Hold. And letting go. This last one, we'll breathe in. Hold a bit longer. And release. And in your own time, you can open your eyes, come back into our sanctuary. And we'll welcome Gregg Levoy.
Hello, Unity of Albany folks. Greetings from the West Coast. I'm delighted to be able to share some thoughts with you this morning. And here in what is hopefully the light at the end of the tunnel finishes our pandemic. But I'd like to kick off the talk on the subject of trust by harkening back to different tumultuous times in my life anyway. And that is that back in the 90s, I moved from San Francisco to Taos, New Mexico, where I lived for several years. And I had been a freelance writer for magazines and newspapers for about a decade when I moved. But as soon as I moved to the desert, work inexplicably dried up. Assignments drained away, editors stopped returning my query letters, my freelance career simply unraveled. Plus, I ended up on food stamps. But in the throes of it, I kept hearing a still small voice telling me that there was something afoot, something I wouldn't understand for a while, and that all of this was happening for a reason that reason couldn't fathom. And to make a long and excruciating story mercifully short for you, led to, among other things, the creation of my book Callings. Right? But throughout it all, I kept hearing the refrain, trust the universe in my head. All right, which is a spiritual adage that on one hand triggered my skepticism, though I understand that doubt is not opposed to faith, it's part of it. But on the other hand, trust the universe has really a long and noble lineage. Let go and let God. Trust the process. Have faith. Don't push the river. Thy will be done. So, now flash forward 25 years. For most of this past year and a half, which of course is characterized by the pandemic and the political and cultural turmoil, etc., I've been hearing that refrain in my head again, trust the universe. As I often do, really, during challenging periods in my life. But I've been trying to drill down into it a bit more this time around. And I've been wondering, what exactly does that mean, to trust the universe? What does that mean? What aspects of the universe are you trusting when you say you trust the universe? And of course, if this is still you can build, okay? So So, for instance, when and if you say you trust the universe, are you saying that you trust its benevolence, the feeling that you're somehow looked after, which is not, I think, something that everyone can trust. You know, the notion that the universe has your back is much easier to get behind when luck has favored you with, say, a loving family, or good health, a good education, regular paycheck, a favorable race or sexual orientation. But it's considerably harder to get behind, I think, when your ration of luck includes being born into, say, a war zone, or poverty, or a violent family, or you're, a paycheck away from homelessness, or you're homeless. One is likely to fill you with the feeling of paranoia, which is the belief that the universe is conspiring against you, and the other is likely to fill you with the experience of pronoia, which is the belief that the universe is conspiring in your favor. All right? So, an interviewer once reportedly asked Albert Einstein, of all the questions you've posed into the mysteries of the universe, Mr. Einstein, what do you think is the most important question to ask? And Albert Einstein reportedly said, is the universe a friendly place or not? And I think how you answer that question is going to impact, if not determine, how your life unfolds, how you're going to interpret and respond to the things that happen to you, including events like the pandemic or the political upheavals. All right? Really, it kind of reflects your default position toward life, in a sense, either optimistic or pessimistic. All right? You might also consider asking yourself whether you believe the universe is a meaningful place. Because if you do, then I think it's easier to trust that whatever happens, at the very least, you're going to find some meaning and purpose in it. All right? But if by friendly we mean favorably disposed toward, which is really just the dictionary definition of it, favorably disposed toward, then I think clearly the universe is a friendly place. Because after all, it created us, gave us life, a habitable planet to live on, gave us each other, all right? And since we are capable of love and kindness and empathy, I think it stands to reason that the universe would also be composed of these qualities, if nothing else, through us, okay? But it's one thing to say that the universe has a heart, and I think it's another to feel it and to believe it, all right? To believe that even in your darkest hours, and I would venture to guess most of us have had a few of those in the past year and a half, that life is still, and perhaps ultimately, good and beautiful and generous. That even when the bottom falls out, in a sense, the universe provides you with earth to land on, okay, people to commiserate with, and a mind that can imagine better days, or at least remember them, okay? And given that each one of us is also a piece of the universe, in other words, this is not just out there somewhere, you might ask whether you yourself are a friendly place or not. All right, do you trust yourself? Do you treat yourself with compassion or judgment or indifference? All right, if your internal organs could speak, or that spiritual organ that we call a soul, or for that matter, the roughly 40 trillion individual bacterial beings that are inside each one of our bodies and with whom we co-evolved, would they say that you're a friendly place or not? Because after all, you're the universe in which they go about their business. Would they trust your essential goodness and amicability, your empathy for them, your support of them? All right? Another example. When you say, or if you say that the universe, that you trust the universe, are you saying that you trust it to work in mysterious ways? Which I think it also does, though those ways may run counter to our own agendas, often do. And though I think it's possible to build your tolerance for mystery and uncertainty, say by studying the natural world, or the human psyche, or the creative process, or just your own dreams, because all of those are full of mystery, all right? In trusting the universe, are you saying that you trust that life supports growth? Which it also does, although I think it's really a kind of a constant cycling back and forth between growth and decay, and growth and decay, and growth, etc. But what that means is that if you were to stick with any given crisis long enough, that is, ride it out in full consciousness with all instruments turned to the on position, it would eventually lead you back to, or forward to growth. That a crisis will eventually resolve or evolve into what the mythologist Joseph Campbell called a directive crisis. All right, what Gail Sheehy, who wrote the book Passages, called falling up. And I think what the rest of us just call turning lemons into lemonade. All right. One thing I've come to trust about the universe is the repeating pattern of setbacks setting me up for breakthroughs, okay? Failures leading me toward opportunities, or what the philosopher Homer Simpson calls crisitunities, okay? In fact, if you were to create a timeline of the growth spurts in your life, I would venture to guess you might discover, as I did when I did this exercise recently, that they are often accompanied by upheaval. All right? They're often precipitated by it and certainly accompanied by it. Okay? Are you trusting that the universe operates on a like attracts like basis? In which case, keeping your chin up in the midst of crises and challenges should set up a similar frequency in the world around you, which is really the basis, of course, of what people call the law of attraction. Or are you just saying, when you say you trust the universe, are you just really saying you trust your own resilience? Okay, your ability to choose how you're going to respond to whatever the universe throws at you, okay? Now, the definition of trusting something is believing in its reliability, okay? Again, dictionary definition, believing in its reliability. So right off the bat, there's a catch here, because the universe is clearly reliable. I mean, the sun comes up, the sun goes down, gravity works, etc. But the universe is also reliably unpredictable. I'm thinking of chaos theory, or Murphy's Law, or the law of entropy, or, if you don't mind me saying so on Sunday, the famous shit that happens. Okay, so saying that you trust the universe has to include trusting that it is both reliable and unreliable, okay? That it is chaotic and random in addition to being reliable. And these are forces, of course, that operate clearly on affairs down here on the home planet. So it means trusting the universe to be itself, right? Which is that combination of predictable and unpredictable, and that we ourselves will pretty much operate in a similar fashion throughout life, okay? Now this requires a skill that I once heard someone describe as heroism redefined for the modern age, which is the ability to tolerate paradox, okay? To hold two seemingly opposing forces or ideas or energies or beliefs inside you at the same time and still retain the ability to function, if not hang on to your cookies and your marbles and your lunch, okay? So faith and fear, us and them, my will and thy will, head and heart, reliable and unreliable, you know, pick your duality, okay? And paradox requires that we bring these two opposing energies, seemingly opposing energies, together to talk to one another, all right? Tolkien, who wrote The Lord of the Rings, once said, it doesn't do you any good to leave a dragon out of your calculations if you live near him, okay? So, trusting the universe, and of course finding some meaning and purpose in any given manifestation of that universe, including events like the pandemic, may ultimately be a matter of staying in conversation with the universe, in co-respondence with it, all right? And there's lots of ways of doing that. Dialoguing with the dragons in your life, asking for dream guidance, listening to your body, honoring intuitions and synchronicities, spending time out in the natural world, meditation, prayer, journaling. Journaling is actually a beautiful tool for staying in conversation with the universe, with the grander scheme of things. I'm thinking of something that Ira Progoff once said. Ira Progoff is really one of the grandfathers of personal journaling. He created a system back in the 1960s called the intensive journaling process and wrote a book called At a Journal Workshop. And he said that the point of journaling is to go down deeply enough into your own well that you eventually hit the stream that's the source of all the wells, which I think is not only ravishing, but suggests that journaling is a perfect tool for being in conversation with the universe, with the bigger picture. And of course, just for, you know, feeling our way through events like the pandemic or some of the turmoil that's going on at the moment, all right? One of my own responses to the pandemic, and specifically to the financial anxiety that it brought about, was to rearrange my morning schedule so that it now includes an act of trust, not just an abstract notion of it, all right? So my morning routines now include 15 or 20 minutes of playing the piano before coming in here, into the office to work. And I'm doing that in part to demonstrate to myself that I can afford the time to do that. Okay, so an act of trust, not just a high opinion I have of myself, okay? In fact, really, one of the diagnostics I use anymore to know whether I'm trusting the universe is when I make counterintuitive decisions like that. You know, when I respond to fear, say, with surrender rather than striving, okay? Or I choose passion over security, maybe more often than not. Or I make the growth choice over the fear choice, all right? Or try to allow things to happen more than always trying to make them happen. Make money, make a living, make ends meet, make headway, make a difference, make sense, you know, a little bit more allowing, all right? So the fact is, it's easier to trust the universe, I think, when we're doing our part, all right? Not just being patient or faithful or waiting for the universe to deliver, but being actively patient, as in God helps those who help themselves, as in trust Allah but tie your camel to a post, okay? As in luck favors the prepared mind, which is something Louis Pasteur told us, all right? Ultimately trusting the universe. Well, here's one more thing. I mentioned waiting. The origin of the word wait is to watch. So waiting doesn't just mean sitting around twiddling our thumbs. It means being attentive, okay? Which is a critical conversational skill, all right? So you really, in a sense, you might say the universe needs to trust us as much as we need to trust it. But I think that trusting the universe may ultimately not even be so much a practical issue as much as a spiritual one, all right? Not necessarily about strategizing or creating new affirmations or doing behavior mod of some kind, all of which, of course, are great ideas. But I think it may ultimately be more a matter of sitting respectfully with things as they are. Granted, a high art, but sitting respectfully with things as they are, letting yourself feel what you feel in the midst of a crisis or a challenge, or a falling up experience, letting yourself feel what you feel without even needing to understand it, no less do something about it. And of course, having a certain forbearance for mystery and uncertainty and ambiguity, all right? Not just out there in the universe, but in here, in this universe, all right? And I think since spiritual practice is the work of creating a bond with whatever is greater than yourself, whether that's God or the natural world or community or just your own potential, I think these kind of practices can help with your connection and conversation with the universe and help you strike up a mutually friendly rapport with the universe, all right? Which might begin by answering Einstein's question. Answer Einstein's question for yourself. Is the universe a friendly place or not? And maybe explore a little bit about why you believe the universe is either a friendly or an unfriendly place, okay? So I wish us all great good luck in forging a mutually friendly relationship with the universe, and in continuing to navigate and even make the most of these rather tumultuous times, but also opportune times. And I'll add also that the webinar this afternoon is a very hands-on opportunity to explore your own relationship to trusting the universe and to trusting your own life and how to build acts of trust into it. So I hope you'll join us, as well as, of course, a community of fellow seekers. And thank you. Thank you again for inviting me to share these thoughts with you this morning. And I'm going to sign off now, and I wish each and all of us blessings.
Thank you, Gregg. I just want to go right into this song, and then we'll talk about that a little bit. Let go of the shore and let the water carry you. Let go of the shore, float into the mystery. Try that with us. Let go of the shore and let the water carry you. Let go of the shore, float into the mystery. You have all you need, it's all inside of you. Just close your eyes and breathe, and know that you are safe. Let go of the shore and let the water carry you. Let go of the shore, float into the mystery again. Let go of the shore and let the water carry you. Let go of the shore, float into the mystery. Float into the mystery. Float into the mystery. So, great talk from Gregg. I discovered that the beginnings of this talk were in the beginning of the pandemic, and an article in Psychology Today that he wrote, which you can find online. And I'm sorry about whatever happened with the visual and the voice being off. I don't know why that happened, but I'll put up a version online this week of what he sent us. So if you want to watch it again or suggest it to others, that will be there. Really interesting the way the Spirit works. Bridget Beckmann, who's speaking next week, will be talking about living in transition periods, which works very nicely off of Gregg's talk. And then, as though we planned this somehow, Ann Sampson, who's with us this morning, I think it's the following week, in 2 weeks, is doing a message on journaling. So, and like he really underlined that. It's like, oh, we have that covered, Gregg. So thank you, Ann, for that. So this, remind me where we are in the service.
Before you go on, Roger, just that the webinar, he mentioned the webinar.
Oh, that was it. That's the other thing. Yeah, we had to cancel the webinar. We just had a couple people signed up. It's a tricky thing with doing these things digitally, because if Gregg had been here in person and we had a full house, clearly there'd be enough people to say, oh yeah, I'd really like to do that today. So I thought, I could suggest to him, maybe we'll offer it as an evening thing within the next period or something if he's interested, and maybe people who've heard this now would be interested. So throw that out there. Okay. This is our offering time. We do have, we're not doing a collection these days, so there's a red box on the wall out in the lobby area. You'll see it there, where you can put a check or an offering of any kind that you'd like, or as many of you are already doing, you can do this all online. And if you signed up for Vanco yet, you can do it on your phone, for that matter. So there's a lot of ways. So we want to express gratitude for all that we have and all that we're able to give. And we'll do that by saying our statement together. Divine love flowing through me blesses and multiplies all that I have, all that I give,
and all that I receive. We are blessed to know that Spirit is our source. Thank you, Father, Mother, God, and so it is. Amen.
And then usually at this point, there's an offering being taken up, and we fill with a song, and we're going to do it anyway. So we can't help ourselves. So I just felt like a song I wanted to sing today after with this topic. And again, you're welcome to stand for this if
you're able.
If you're able.
And desire to do so.
Oh, sorry. Getting there slowly.
This song is called Tuning.
Yes, it's a Chinese song. All right. Here under heaven's eyes, down under paradise, sometimes it feels like we're so small. Here on the shores that reach beyond infinity, how could we matter much at all? Would it be enough if each of us could give our love like sand on a mountain, rain on a fountain, shade on a shadow, a breeze in this tornado? Just do what you can. Clap with one hand and shine all your light in the sun. We live to learn to love. Oh, mercy from above. Amazing grace like rain comes falling down. We sing our hearts to you, our song of gratitude, the voice of every child, how sweet the sound. We can only trust that somehow all our prayers will all add up like sand on a mountain, rain on a fountain, shade on a shadow, a breeze in this tornado. Just do what you can. Clap with one hand and shine all your light in the sun. Just one more time, the chorus, ready? Like sand on a mountain, rain on a fountain, shade on a shadow, a breeze in this tornado. Just do what you can. Clap with one hand and shine all your light in the sun. Just do what you can. clap with one hand and shine all your light in the sun. One big shine. Nice. Thank you. And we'll do a couple little blessings to close our service with. One is bringing to mind all the youth in our lives, our children, grandchildren, nephews and nieces, the kid across the street, all those kids. Bring them to mind, hold them in your heart, and we'll say this blessing for them. God loves you and accepts you just the way you are. And I love you
and accept you just the way you are. I behold the Christ you are.
And we allow them in the silence to say that back. Amen. And a prayer for protection. This one that we've been playing with and adding a little extra piece to each phrase. We'll say it together. The light of God surrounds us. I am light. The love of God enfolds us. I am love. The power of God protects us. I am power.
The presence of God watches over us. I am presence. Wherever we are, God is, and all is well. I am divine.
You are the branches. No.
Well, that too.
Thank you all for being here this morning. It's nice to have company. And all of you joining us online. We'll ask Jackie here to lead us off in this closing song.
There was a time in my life I thought I'd have to do it all for myself. I didn't know the grace of God was sufficient. Didn't know the love of God was at hand. But now I can say, if you are discouraged, struggling just to make it through another day, you got to let it go, let it all go. And this is what you have to say. I release and I let go. I let Spirit run my life, and my heart is open wide. Yes, I'm only here for God. No more struggle, no more strife. With my faith I see the light. I am free in the Spirit. Yes, I'm only here for God. I release and I let go. I let Spirit run my life, and my heart is open wide. Yes, I'm only here for God. No more struggle, no more strife. With my faith I see the light. I am free in the Spirit. Yes, I'm only here for God. I am free in the Spirit.
Yes,
I'm only here for God.
Blessings, everybody. Have a wonderful day, wonderful week. Peace. Namaste.